Okay. Oh, hi Chris. Let me know if the music's too loud or my voice is too loud or one of them's too quiet or something. And I'll adjust it. More folio work. Yeah, no, it's just for fun. I got nothing else to do. Finished up all my work, so it's just a little bit of fun. Just a platformer thing. I think that years ago I worked on a platformer that looked almost exactly like this. And it was fun to do, and I had my own like 2D characters and they were animated in spine, so I kind of want to do a little mini project with that. Can't get enough of your delicate tones. It's just it's the microphone. Quality Blue Yeti. Yeah, so it's just a little yeah, and I mean it might go on the portfolio, but generally no, it's just a little bit for fun. I do this anyway. I just thought I'd stream it because like trying to diversify the revenue pools, just gonna make something more of the YouTube. I've got 12,000 subscribers, so I should do something with it. I just I like most of Discord people are from YouTube, so it kind of makes sense to like give it a little bit of attention. Managed to get more clients stuff sorted. Yeah, basically, yeah, it's like it's one of those things where it's freelance, right? So it's up and down, and like sometimes there's things, sometimes it's nothing, sometimes it's too much. Like I remember last year in November, I had so much. I had about 4 or 5 clients at the same time, and that's fine. Like it's good, but it basically means that you have 4 or 5 bosses, and then it's 4 or 5 times the admin, which is, you know, it's just a pain and it gets in the way of the work. So it wasn't very efficient to have that many, so I had to cancel a few. And now in times like this, it's like oh hey Kimmy, how are you? Doing good? This is kind of like something similar to your project, Kimmy, isn't it? Like with the forest and the I don't know, cute animated colours, something bright and stuff. I'm trying to make it look like a little bit like a rainforest, a little bit wet, a little bit gloomy, but with like nice lighting coming down on the platformer. Classic platformer art, so the interactive zone is super bright and everything else is kind of just pushed into the background. Do need to balance it a little bit more though. Like here. I forgot what I was saying. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The client stuff. Yeah. So yeah. No, I've sorted some things. It's just yeah, sometimes you have too much, sometimes you have too little, and then when you have too little, it's like a stress to get more. When you have too much, it's a stress because you got too much and you have to cancel one of them. You have to make a decision. So between all of that, it's like freelancing can be fun, but it's hard sometimes. Classic indeed. Yeah, I've been watching someone replay Sonic Origins, you know, with the classic platformers, updated 16:9 ratio, stuff like that, and it's been fun. I got like Sonic tattoos. It's my first ever game with Sonic 2, so platformers, bright and colourful, kind of cute things are all the wheelhouse. It's not going to be super detailed this though, it's just going to be kind of like, once it's done, it's done. Is Lemon Seed your freelance company then? No, that's just, Lemon Seed is, I don't know where you got Lemon Seed from. I finished, they were a indie studio that I was the art director for Blue Oak Bridge on, and like I finished working last September, sometime last August, for them on Blue Oak Bridge, and it's released the other day. I'll put the link in the chat if you guys wanna play it, but like it's pretty good. Like, I'm proud of what I did on it, you know. The portfolio is going to be filled with Blue Oak Bridge stuff soon, because I have about 6 gigabytes of concept art for Blue Oak Bridge. So going through that it takes ages. Like, freelancing is good and everything, and you know, you can sometimes the NDAs don't last as long because the projects are considered like a little bit smaller, so there's sometimes no NDAs. You can put it up straight away, but yeah, it's like going through it, then it's kind of a little bit messy and stuff. I liked it though, it was really good. Blue Oak Bridge, but the art for it, yeah, compiling all of that's going to take ages. I did the UI the other day. I think you've all seen that. You all give it a like and a comment, which is nice. But yeah, it takes ages to go through it. I'm happy about it though. It's really good. Like, I'm proud of it. But yeah, Lemon Seed was just the Blue Oak Bridge thing, pretty much. I'll send a link at the end of this to it on the server. Hey, let's see. Do you have any key to do things before you begin coloring, like any checkmark lists? Yeah, I guess like I have a color key in mind. So for this one, I just it was a piece of art I saw on ArtStation. I didn't even save it. It was kind of like a wet teal colored forest, so I know that's what I'm going for. But in terms of coloring, no, like even this like this brown here, this like simple desaturated brown, I know I'm going to change the color of that. I'm just putting it down now. I'm just putting some flats down. Like, I know I'll change it to like I'll like saturate the color a little bit more, and I'll push it more into the background. So I'll push it this way a little bit, maybe desaturate, make it darker a little bit, get some of that green in there, and then maybe it'll end up like something like that, because I know I'm pushing it back. But for now, it's going to stay bright as I like balance everything out. Like, even this pink thing here, I think it's attracting way too much attention, so I'm going to shrink it down and maybe add that pink across here so it's like a little bit equal. Like, where is it? But no, there's no like to-do checklist. If it's a really good piece, like I know it's going to be like a 5, 6, 7, 8 hour, 10 hour render, then I know I'll definitely want to do a color key beforehand, just because. Put some pink in here. Because if I get it wrong, then it could be like a big waste of time, and then I'll have to go back and do hours of rendering again. But no, not really. I mean, coloring's more simple than a lot of people think. I think it's because, you know, you try it once and you give up a little bit, but it's all about understanding that the light influences the color. So as long as you know where your lighting is, then the color is kind of secondary. That's why values are most important. So like, as long as you know everything has a local color, so the local color of this tree could be this color, it could be like a desaturated brown, and I'll put that in for now, but I know I'm gonna, like, through painting and through editing, that will get pushed back because it's probably attracting too much attention. Maybe some of these will too, because I might want to put a character here. I know this is in the lighting, so this is going to be bright, so it's already started looking quite bright. And yeah, it's a process, right? And it's not like a process where you like get this color exactly right the first time, but over time you yeah, you just build it up like a classic painting, like an oil painting, you know, you just build it up. But yeah, no, thanks for the question. I'm good. Just got a feedback from a game testing interview. I need a job right now. Even though 3 years experience as a game tester, my interview skills need polishing. In our next call, Kimmy, I can show you a few interviewing tips, because I love interviewing. Genuinely, 100% love interviewing. I like talking to people. They seem to be more successful than definitely they used to be for me. So like, and I've learned a few things over the years, and obviously I was the other side of that interview process for many, I say many jobs in my career, at least one or two of them. I was doing some interviewing, so I know what to look for, and I know what they're looking for and stuff. So we could talk about that if you want to. But yeah, what was the feedback? Was it good feedback? Your project that we're going to work on is what I'm most excited about. Like that project is can't wait to get that finished. My favorite thing is like short emotional, like Pixar short stories that have like one or two scenes, maybe a montage in there or something, but like small amount of environments that are really storytelling, small amount of characters interacting with each other about one thing, like small arcs, small emotions, no, big emotions, small arcs. But yeah, that's my favorite thing. So what you're doing is like right up there. What am I doing now? Ooh, what are your thoughts on the emergence of the AI stuff? It's so confusing, isn't it? Like, I think everyone wants to talk about AI, but no one wants to mention it to give it more credence. My opinion's changed on it loads over the years, and I knew about it a couple of years ago, you know, seen it come through and stuff. It's like, it's just going to be another tool that artists use to get where they need to, right? So like one of the most in-demand jobs in the game industry is technical artist, because so many people know how to do that. It's essentially a programmer with artistic skills, which, you know, how rare is that, you know? So yeah, tech artist is super rare. My point I'm trying to get at is that you never really know. You never knew that was coming. Like a programmer with art skills would be the most in-demand thing. But I guess it's bridging the two disciplines of programming and art in game design. And if you think about the same thing with kind of AI art, it's the same thing really. It's just sort of a bridge between the two of them. AI art is fine. I mean, it could do renders. I mean, it might kill some junior positions. It might kill some of those. But you work hard enough. Yeah, you work hard enough and you're going to get where you need to. You don't need a junior position to get into industry. You know, your work speaks for itself. If you're doing the work and you have a portfolio of work that's a game artist level, not a junior, or even a senior level, then you'll be fine, because we're always going to need those, you know, asset creation, visual development. It might kill, like, you know, anime, manga, girls, people with high level render stuff. But as a visual development artist, as an ideas person, a concept artist, as an art director, all of those, they should be pretty safe. And I talk to a lot of like those mentors I mentioned and stuff. I still talk to them, and they're great about stuff, and they've taught me a little something new as well, which was that in the 90s you had digital art come over. Everyone used to paint hand painted, right? And there'd be cells for animation and stuff like that. And games would be like hardly any concept artists were there, because, you know, everything was pencil and color markers and things like that, you know, classic traditional stuff. And in the 90s, digital art came in. And like you had the stubborn traditionalists being like, oh, you know, it's cheating because you can undo stuff and everything. And then using photo bashing came in like the mid-noughties and stuff. So that was like using pictures as part of your art to get like hyper-realistic Assassin's Creed concept art level stuff. And, you know, it's just another stage of that. So it's just another tool that we'll use. I mean, how many people... Photo bashing came in and it made photorealism hyper quick in the mid-noughties. But look what I'm painting right now. You know, I'm painting a super stylized thing, and look at the renaissance that stylized art had. And yeah, I know AI art can do stylized stuff as well, but my point is, you know, it's just another tool, it's just another program. Everything will calm down with AI art in a few years, maybe even like less than a year now, and it'll go back to normal. And it's just one of those hyper things where, like, the businessmen, they come in, they'd be like, we want everything AI. People realize that AI isn't as good as it can be. You know, the Marvel TV shows and stuff, you know, algorithm generated stuff is all trash. People are recognizing that, and they're not going to the cinema to see it. They're not subscribing to Disney Plus to see it. Same thing with AI art. If anything's made with AI art and you can tell and it shows, and there's no artistic filter beyond that, then people can tell and they're not going to buy it. And if they're not going to buy it, they're not going to make any money, so why would they use AI art for anything? I'd be more worried for like lawyers and things like that, because apparently it's really good at reading contracts, and like that's a lawyer's job, right? So I wouldn't be too based or focused about AI art. I mean, AI in general is, it's a big thing, but certainly don't worry for the next 4 or 5 years in terms of art. I mean, who knows after that? But yeah, don't be too doom and gloom. There's some of my mentors and people I talk to in the industry, they say they're getting more concept art jobs than ever before, because you're getting a plethora of like of artists come in being like, I'm a prompt artist, I can do it really quickly, and then they don't want that because they know how bad that is and how useless that is really in terms of like game art production. How are you supposed to break up the assets? How are you supposed to do any of this? And now people are more than ever searching for that actual real experienced yeah, I'm rambling now, but you know what I mean. They're searching for that real experience, that real thing, which is harder to come by because of the market is saturated with AI. So now they're going out seeking more and more valid ways. But yeah, sorry about that rant. Off-road fellas, little wave, hi. I started out in Q&A back in the day. Oh, nice. Can't wait to start the project too. Yeah, I'm super excited for your project. Whenever you start it, just send it over and I'll give it a review and do a little paint over or something. We'll start simple and go out from there. Sorry if I don't get to your question or the chat straight away. I'm just trying to multitask, I guess, get both of these done. Add a little dirt at the bottom of this rock, fade it into the background a little more. Same thing with the trees. I'm just going to add some shadow on these just to get a little bit of understanding of the form. What's more forward, what's more backwards. There we go. Something like that. That's under shadow. Lighting's coming from above, mainly hitting this line here, so it's going to be lighter at the bottom than it is at the top. There we go. Lighter in the middle, darker on the sides as it bends around. Behind this tree, behind this bush as well, it's going to be darker because the shadow is going to be kind of cast on there. Something like that. A little lighter, faded up with the airbrush. Just gonna make it a bit softer. Here we go. What have we got? Yeah, I worked for Square Enix. It was something. Oh wow. Oh yeah, I remember you saying actually. Yeah. Nice. Sounds like a dream for some people though. Why is my trees all the way up there? Get on there. There we go. I'm going to illuminate the tree from the bottom because I'm going to have the light miss these trees here. Otherwise, if I illuminate, whoa, that's saturated. If I illuminate the top of the trees there, it's kind of going to. If I illuminate the top of the trees, it's going to bring the focus up to the top of the canvas, which is not what I want. I want kind of everything focused down on this line here, where the action is going to be. So if I illuminate the top of the trees, certainly too much, then it will give the wrong impression. So I'm just going to illuminate the bottom, the edges there as it's catching the light from the bounce light from the pathway, which is going to be a little bit warm because the pathway is orange and warm. Here we go. What are we doing? Regan or Region Rams? Miss your live streams, bro. Thanks for sharing. Ah, it's alright, mate. I'm just getting back into it. I mean, if it helps people, that's all good. Willing to answer questions, but I'm just sort of here, just chilling, doing something relaxing. It feels like I've achieved more as well. Like if I work, yeah, if I'm doing this just by myself, I'll probably do it for like an hour or two and then I'll go away and I'll be proud of the art I did and everything or whatever. But if I do it while live streaming as well, it's like two birds with one stone. I'll feel twice as proud. It can be a little bit slower though, because like I'm working out what to do at the same time. Just gonna get some texture in the background. Not that color. There we go. There we go. Slight darker shade just to break up how like airbrushy the background looks. I'm just gonna do this with the texture brush, just dot it around, make it less fadey, and then I'm gonna blur it just to make it look like kind of foliage in the background. It's unimportant and stuff that you might do at the start or at the end, but I'm just gonna do it now because it's a bit thoughtless, so I can just do it. Select blur, just the Gaussian blur is fine. Something like that, and then so it's not all equal, I'll just go over a little bit with harder edges stuff just to break it up a bit. There we go. Might even blur that out again, you know, just variation and layers and layers and layers, right? Now I'm going to darken the trees a little bit so they stand off that background a little bit. Going to flatten this down to the background layer and darken the whole thing just a tad. Just get that all looking nice in the background. Speaking of which, I'm going to fade these trees back a little bit too. Just to create some little bit more variation, not high contrast on that bright point there. What have we got? Missing license as well. They still need artists to create something awesome from AI. Yeah, they do, exactly. You know, it's like AI is a tool. It's like, you know, well, I don't know, it's like anything. If I just copied this over, this is like the equivalent of what AI is. It's like copy that over. It's like, oh great, yeah, you've done something. It's like, well, yeah, it's the exact same as that thing. I need to still, like, an artist still needs to come in to do this and, you know, change the color of it and like warp it a little bit. No matter what it is, it always needs work, you know. So yeah, just oh, I wouldn't be as worried as the YouTube thumbnail drama makes it out to seem. And I know that might seem like difficult coming from me, because you might think like, oh, you know, you're already in the industry and stuff, but like, you know, we're all in the same boat, you know. So it's not. Yeah, I wouldn't be as worried as all of the less we talk about it, like the less it will impact our lives, you know. It's just, it's there, it's a tool. I mean, get to know it if you want. If you think it might give you an advantage in the future, maybe it will. But I wouldn't rely on it, or certainly don't think doom and gloom. There are so many artists that have already like quit because of it. I've seen even like top professional illustrators have quit because they're like, oh, you know, it's just over, I'm not getting any jobs anymore. It's like, well, adapt or die, right? You like, what is he gonna do anyway? Is he gonna like become a baker, or like a, you know, I don't know, an old-fashioned sculptor, like, you know, whatever he wants to be, that's all fine. But, you know, don't make it out so doom and gloom. It's just a phase. Mom, it's just a phase, you know, it's just a phase. It's literally going to be gone in like a few years, you know. It'll come back with a vengeance, you know, when eventually he'll be able to do everything, but don't worry about that for now. We're all fine here. Like, I wouldn't worry about it exclusively taking artist jobs, is what I'm saying. Like, I wouldn't worry too much about that. You know, because it's going to take a lawyer's job before it takes all of the artist jobs. It's going to, you know, we need someone to maintain it then. And also, if no one's got any jobs, who's going to buy the products that the CEOs are replacing us with AI for? You know, so it's like, it doesn't work as a, it just doesn't work. There'll be just like 3 billionaires on the earth and no one else, and just all AI. But yeah, don't worry about the doom and gloom or anything like that. That's all fine for now. That's just that's YouTube thumbnails trying to get clickbait and stuff. Just like AI taking all our jobs. I'm quitting art because of AI. You know, it's just you never loved it in the first place, then, did you? I know we all need money to survive, but like just because you like made it in quotations doesn't mean that life's going to be easy from then on, and then you expect like nothing to come in the way and challenge it. Adapt or die is you know, is the thing, right? You go with it. You use AI then again, you know. I mean, look at the Disney Pixar artists. Some of them, a lot of them are traditional, and a lot of them came from the 90s when digital came in. If they did what some of these artists are doing by quitting because of AI, just leaves more jobs open for all of us, because those 90s traditional artists, they're still working now, you know. There's still a demand for everything. I want into game icons and assets for games, not much realistic, more like cartoonish. Can I only work with that because I don't have level to paint a whole scene like Hearthstone? Wow, yeah. Yeah, stylized stuff is fine. Like, if you want to just do stylized, that's completely fine. Like, I feel like I said this the other day, but my favorite thing about visual development and concept art, and certainly like game artists, concept artists work very close together, because, you know, it's kind of where it originated. You know, film, animation, and games is where concept artists, you know, they come from. And you can definitely do stylized stuff, or just stylized stuff if you wanted to, because there's so many jobs out there for hyper stylized stuff. I mean, look at 2012 or something. The new Call of Duty comes out with HDR and like ray tracing and everything. I don't think it was back in 2012, like, but you know, there's new innovations to make things look more realistic every time, and it's how you use that technology that's innovative, right? So if someone uses, you know, ray tracing to get super accurate lighting and bounce lighting on things in like a Call of Duty game, and everyone's like, oh my god, it's so realistic, that's fine and stuff. But imagine using that for a stylized game. What can you do with that? Like, stylization is just exaggeration, and sometimes it means simplification, but it's just stylization is just, yeah, cartoony exaggeration. And you can use ray tracing in stylized games and stuff. I mean, like Crash Bandicoot came back, you know, like the new Spyro games the last couple of years, and that's only been the last couple of years. You know, it's like stylization is not going to go away. Cartoony style doesn't go away because it's easy to adapt. I thought about it the other day, and I thought, think about how like stylization is just simplification and exaggeration of things. So simplification is an exaggeration of limited detail, right? And think about things like TikTok. Like, TikTok's just the biggest thing ever, right? You can make millions on TikTok with ad revenue and everything. But think of the videos that do well on TikTok. It's never the long form information, infographics on the side and stuff, very small subtitles with a long block of paragraph that you have to read. No, they don't do well. People consume media a lot quicker now, and what's quicker to consume would be something that's exaggerated into a simple form, or something that's hyper realistic. And we always like looking at hyper realistic stuff, sure, but there's a reason why simplification and cartoony stuff are doing so well lately. I think that's because, like, we don't have time in our lives to look at the detail and to think in terms of high level of detail. Like, people don't go on TikTok. People aren't watching 4-hour World War II documentaries. They'd rather sit for 2 hours and scroll through TikTok and get half the information, you know. So it's like, and think of the subtitles as well that come up on on TikTok videos. Then it's not like small at the bottom, like, hey guys, if you want to learn how to make loads of money, then you want to go here and do what I did, and I'm gonna go and do what I did as well because I want more money. So it's not like that, is it? It's like, it's, you know, it's big and bold and simple at the front, like, do this, and then, you know, that'll disappear and it'll be, do this for more money. You know, it's basically the point I'm trying to make is that everything's simpled down for quick speed of efficiency and how you absorb that information. So yeah, think about that when you're thinking about like if stylization is valid and if you can do it, because it's certainly on the cards. What did I do with my... Did I delete a layer? Yeah, I did. Oh shit. Oh, I painted on that layer. There we go. That's fine. That's good. I thought I deleted a layer. But yeah, think about that and stuff. So like TikTok is simplified information, Vine, quick, speedy videos and stuff. You got to be innovative and think how you can make it. And also children, like, you know, we're not making as many children in the world. That's, you know, I'm part of the problem there, but think about how many children's programs and how the YouTube videos with children like Coco Melon and stuff, they're like the best performing YouTube channels, because children need entertainment while the adults work. Children's entertainment is cartoons, stylized simplification for ease of access. We're all children basically watching TikTok videos after work, laying on the bed, want to absorb something super simple and easy to digest, you know. I hope that answers the question anyway. Keep up the doodling, keep up the the stylized cartoon stuff. Yeah, you could definitely make it as a concept artist for games. Definitely. I'm one of those. You're basically saying, can I do your job? And I'm saying, yes, you can. Yeah, nice. I started Q&A. Oh, is that replying to Kimmy? Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah, sorry if I rambled, everyone. I like to ramble. Trying to get painting these fast edges now. Breaking up the form a little bit. Not too much though, because we want to keep it simple and stylized. Whoops. How long have I been going now? 37 minutes, that's fine. That's coming along, isn't it? That bottom bit there, these are fine, that's all of that. Okay, where's my... Here, okay. Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna use this layer, yeah, and go over the bottom bit. And I love your rambling, Matt. Oh, thanks, Kimmy. Not many people do. They all tell me to shut up. I don't know why. I just like rambling. Thanks for putting up with it and enjoying it. That's cute. That's fine. That's good. I do like when I'm teaching CGMA again. Literally it started this week. For those of you who are interested, you can still sign up. Sign up deadline is like Tuesday, because that's the first feedback day, so it'll be too late to like do week 1 stuff by then, but you can still sign up if you wanted to. Or obviously everyone knows I have a mentorship program with on my Patreon on my server, so just go over to that. It's kind of, the Patreon thing is more of a like, you know, whatever you need really, isn't it? It's more of a, do you need like constant feedback about things? Do you need fundamental lessons training? Do you need someone that's kind of there to push you through? Do you need direction? Do you need jobs? Do you need connections to the industry? It's kind of like all of that put together. Just trying to make it like whatever that person needs the most, because that's the opposite and the worst thing about courses, is the lack of personal kind of feedback and tutorage, because they've got to make it for cheap, and you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, anyway, yeah, this sometimes for CGMA, I always like, sometimes the Q&A lessons are only supposed to be like half an hour long of Q&A, but like sometimes I'm not doing anything and I'm just enjoying talking, so I just like, sometimes I go for like 45 minutes, an hour and 15 even sometimes, and it's just like, it's literally just because I'm just talking. Like that gif of that guy that just has like a bunch of connections on its board, like serial killer working out things. You've seen it. You know the one. I don't know what program it's from, but you're like, yeah. So yeah, just using the round brush, simple round brush, thinking about just colouring in sort of 3 values, so like dark, medium, and then this light colour here. And then as I paint, I just kind of like blend the two, and if I need any variation, I can add that one at the end or through the process. But if I add it too early, I start to lose control of my values. So I just, I make sure when I click Alt, I'm working with one of the 3 values, and I'm not sort of, not bouncing out of that too much, because you can lose control quite. What is this? You can lose control quite fast of the values, and then you lose control of the painting, right? Let's just try and keep it like pressing slightly harder than I would to get the full. Even though I got transfer on you, I'm just pressing slightly harder just to make sure I get the full color coming out on this. And then once I remove the line art, once everything's kind of in place, I can go around and add variation and stuff and make it look all unique and different. I'm usually the listener type, and I tend to forget the convo, and I'm used to people ranting their ramblings. That's cute, yeah. That's cute. I mean, like, I always tell people, if you don't get things wrong, you don't learn, and if you don't listen, you don't learn. So, like, talkers can be a little bit annoying sometimes because they're not doing as much listening as they could. They could learn something from just sitting and listening. The quiet types in the corner often know the most, don't they? Oops, that's that there. Yeah, there we go. So little bits of light might reach some of these blades of grass down here, give it a little bit of exciting color dynamic change. There, not too much though, because again, I don't want to distract. I don't want to like focus this area down here. But it still needs some love and attention. I might just get a shade darker on these rocks as well. Just sort of add some very simple, basic shadow. Imagine the light's coming from above, and then how these rocks can look a little bit more interesting. So like if the light's hitting here, underneath here would be like in more, and this would be out more. So just pushing it in, pushing that out. Thinking about cast shadows down on here, this would probably be in as well. This bit would be in because underneath it is out. This could be a little crack down there, and a little broken crack there, and over here. Yeah, underneath here might be some cast shadows. This will be like a closed inside, so all this down here. This will be totally in just because it's by the edge, so I just want to darken it to decrease the focus. Could do the same over here, but it'll be a little bit too... that'll be too obvious, right? Yeah, coming along. I'm just going to do a little light pass on the top of here as well, just brighten up the bits that that will be facing the sky, that will have caught light, and it pushes back any kind of, makes it, just adds color variation that's not too dramatic at all, so I'm not going to lose control of the values down there. And that's that, and then that's on top, and then this is underneath. Sure, so I could do a little like tiny little bit of sort of gradients in the corners here and the cracks, just with a little brush like this, just to get some variation, make it look darker so the top looks a little bit lighter. And now I could fade in a little bit more with these. Now I start to, like, you know, break that 3-value rule of light, medium, and dark, light, local color, and shadow. I add in a bit here and there, up there, just get super messy. Now this is where all my texture comes in. If I'm not using like a texture brush, if I'm doing like stylized work, you don't tend to use texture brushes for it. It tends to be all solid understanding of the material so that you know how to reflect the light off it, where stuff will reflect and things like that. I think that's a good amount of render on the bottom there. It's not finished, but it's, you know, it's getting there. Look, it's getting there. I might remove the line art for that from now then. And on these, no, they're too messy without the line art. They need a little bit more work. That looks really bad. Might have to like adapt the line. Well, this is a good example of like, okay, what I'm going to do is show you something that I normally sometimes do in my work, which is I'll use the line art as part of the painting assets. I mean, the fear here is that the line art on here is so nice and crisp and contrasting because it's so black that it's going to detract from this main layer here with the main player on it. So there's several ways to do that. So I got the painting underneath, and on its own it looks a little bit like it needs too much render for the effort that I'm willing to put in. So I could use the line art above it to imitate the detail that it doesn't have on the painting. So I could blend these two together, and one way of doing that would be to create a clipping mask on the line art layer, and that clipping mask set it to like linear dodge. Then get a soft brush and kind of it depends on what color the background is, what color the environment is really. So I'm going to take this color here, and I'm just going to, if I do it extremely, you can see what happens, right? It you know, brightens up that dark bit there, and I'm just going to do that a little bit on some of these just so I can push them back. You can see automatically how they kind of fall back into the background, and it just looks a little bit more like dark accents painted as opposed to anything else. On this one here, it offers a nice, like, it wouldn't be that shadow color probably, but it still offers a nice kind of, hey, it's hand painted, hey, it's got its sketch layer on it, but let's not look at that because it doesn't have as much contrast, right? So I am pushing it back. This one, it, you know, might take a little bit of work. I might need to be, you know, pink in a few places and then dark green under this one here, just so it's like mixing it up a little bit. But you can see automatically they've been pushed back, right? And they look a lot more like, if you blur your eyes, you can't even see the line. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is just to like lower the opacity on that so it adopts whatever colors underneath it, or even just setting it to overlay is really good, especially for the lighter parts where it kind of, it becomes additive and it kind of, I don't really understand it, but I just know what it does and I know how to use it then. So that's one way to do it, but I'm more inclined to use this more controlled kind of linear dodge way because it just gives me a little bit more control. Once you're happy with it, then just Control E to flatten it on the line layers, so that line becomes permanently in the colors that we chose. And now if I'm super happy with that, then I could just group these together and then create a clipping mask on top of that, so I'm not damaging any of the layers underneath, and I could just work on top. Sorry, there's a fly flew next to my mouth. Definitely don't want it. Clipping mask on there, and then you can paint on top of this, and you can paint like as if, you know, you're painting on the two layers there, so you can do a little bit of something without destroying the layers, you know. It does rely on the clipping mask of the things underneath, so like here for example, you can see that I don't have any paint there. Get away, fly. Get lost, ghost. It doesn't have any alpha there, so I can't actually do anything with that, but you know, it's supposed to be rough and messy and nice, right? So yeah, that's something I do quite frequently. I've done that a lot lately, especially because I'm working on my comics. I'm adapting this like comic book style to have more color and less ink, less black ink, but still use the ink in for the contrast and the clarity and the compositions. So I'm still having that comic book style, but it's got more color in the ink. So it's kind of like a little bit unique. I don't see it that often, and I really like it. So I'm playing with that lately. Sorry. Does your brush have a slight feather on it? By feather, do you mean like transfer? So it's like the harder I push, the more opacity comes through, or do you mean like the actual edge of it? Because the actual edge of it, I think, doesn't have any feather at all. If I go up here, it's quite clean if I push hard, but it does obviously have a zero space in transfer, so it's nice and clean. You can get it on my Patreon actually, even if you just subscribe to the £3.99 tier. All my brushes are on there, so it's just a basic hard round one here, and I use mainly something at the top, but I do also have, like, you know, these stamped stencil brushes, which I might even use for this one, you know, in the background there, a little tree and stuff that I would then, you know, warp. warp, and you know, it's got like birches and things, and it's got like a little bit of it's got all those brushes too, even like the grass brush, which, you know, I could have used that for, I might even use that to finish up the render down here, you know, add some grass down here, and yeah, some Spider-Verse brushes and stuff, and then up here it's just the rest of my normal stuff. But yeah, you can get them on there, but yeah, it doesn't have any feather on it. I mean, slightly soft edges isn't the hard one you're using. No, yeah, like you can see, it's not, it's just purely hard around there. At least I don't think so. I mean, like, if I remove the transfer, which I'm not going to do because I'll change the brush. But the yeah, the point of the most important, it's not quite an opaque brush. But yeah, that's that. I'm going to do that there. I'll fill in those later. It still looks like they're more focused than the thing in advance here, because they've got that extra line layer which acts as like an occlusion shadow layer of detail, so it looks like it's got more focus on there, like when you're watching old Scooby-Doo cartoons and you can see, like, you see the background and it's like a messy library, and then there's like all the books are painted in there with like watercolor and gouache and oil paints and stuff, whatever they use, and then all of a sudden there's like a cell shaded book, and it's obviously that's the one they're going to pick up. Like, that's the same rules here of like contrast, where you can see it looks a little bit more like this is more important than the tree and the thing that's around it, which I'll even that out because I want the most important thing to be the character, whatever that character is going to be. But yeah, that's that. I'm going to flatten this rock now because I think all the layers are good with the rock. Yeah, and I'm just going to get some sort of darker shadows on the underside of the rock here. Not too much though. Again, don't want it to draw focus or attention away from the most from the most important thing. But just, yeah, make it a little bit more dynamic rock. I'm cutting into the green that I did put there, but I know I'm going to go over it as well. Flat layers of like broken up stuff that make a painting look like a painting, you know. Layers upon layers of paint and stuff on top of stuff. One of the first lessons I learned in illustration was they got you to like not use the undo tool, just keep painting at 100% opacity digitally and not use the undo tool. So like if you made a mistake, you just had to go over that again with 100% opacity, no transfer, so you had to pick the right color every time. And it was like one of those like hard lessons, a real eye-opener, in that, like, you know, you might not be as good at selecting the right values and the right colors that you think you are, but that's a really good way to train your eye. Now, with my mentorship thing, I could teach you things like that would really help. But I never set homework unless it's homework that I need to I need you to have this so we can see how we can progress. But I never set homework like, make sure you do like 10 sketches a day for the next week or something like that. It's never like that, because I don't just gonna get more color in here. I don't like, that's out of my control whether you do that or not. The more you do, the better you're gonna do, and the more you do, then the faster you're gonna do. So I can teach you like nice techniques, nice ways to paint, nice practice things that help you get better faster. Like, sure, I can do that, but ultimately it's down to you to do that practice. And if you do it, you're just gonna get better faster. If you don't, then you're still gonna get better, but just slower. You know, I'm there to teach you, like, well, everything I mentioned, like the fundamentals and stuff. Fundamentals, painting, connections to the industry, portfolio, which is super important. Setting up portfolio to for the best job that you want, for the kind of job that you want. So I did like portfolio reviews when I worked in China for a little bit. Under the art director, we worked with vendors. Yeah, it was all fun. It was all good. Love the Spider-Verse stuff. Oh, the brushes, yeah. Yeah, I know where I got those, I think. I think they were just online somewhere, but and then I adopted them to make them more work for me. But they sorry, they're basically the you know, the comic book polka dot thing style, you know, that you see, and some very like hard edge New York City building cityscape, windows and squares like that work and sort of multiply as you paint with them. I really need them, but I mean they're part of the repertoire now, part of the wheelhouse. Okay, what's kind of lacking? The trees are a little bit lacking, aren't they? Let's get rid of the bushes that are too focused. You can see once I've got rid of those, it's kind of improved the piece overall. It's because these are the bits that are standing out. The pink is nowhere else in the painting, so the painting's been harmonized once I remove those. So I need to get more of that pink in the painting for it to be included as part of the palette. Otherwise, it's just like this isolated, super focused, like look at me, look at me. And they have the line art on them still, so I didn't do that with any other layer, so I need to up the quality to match this, up the detail to match these guys before they feel like they fit in. Which, you know, I could do now. I could use a little bit of that grass brush here as well, just to add a little bit more into the background here, just like that. Using A and B to get variations in size and scale. Put some down here. It's only a tiny bit of detail. This is really doesn't add too much. It's just gives the render a little bit more clean. Let's do a little naughty trick and go upside down. So we're getting some for down here too. There we go. I like little bananas. Did you actually live in China? Yeah, I did some work in China, yeah. It was Fuzhou working for IGG. So, yeah, I did some work for IGG. That's where I went from like a concept artist to a lead concept artist, and then they saw my sort of leadership skills, I guess, or idea of understanding of art, so they pushed me from that to a lead, and then as a lead I was like chilling for a little bit. Most of the games we worked on never actually saw the light of day. Everything got left on the R&D cutting room floor pretty much, but you know, it wasn't all bad. Learned a lot there. That's where I met one of my tutors, one of my mentors, and so it was pretty good. And then I graduated to sort of junior art director, working underneath the art director. I was in charge of like the R&D floor. There was like 3 R&D floors in this one building, and on each R&D floor they had about 12 R&D teams. So I was in charge of one of the floors, the art director for that floor, the junior art director for that floor, and we had to like do the style guides and do the Bibles and yeah, essentially set the style that the entire kind of R&D department would work under, which was good. It was fun. Sometimes they broke away from that when the game demanded something specific in a different style or something experimental. They used to have one team working on casino games, and the other team correlating that team then would work on like an experimental game. And if the experimental game failed, then that's fine because they still had the casino game making the money. And if the casino game failed, then they would scrap the experimental game, no matter how far in development it was. It wasn't like a great idea. So that's why you saw so many like projects that were just unfinished. I have so much art from projects that just didn't go anywhere, that I can't really share because it doesn't. Well, I can share obviously, but sharing it doesn't mean as much. It's just like, oh, a project you never finished, as opposed to like, oh, a licensed game that you worked on that was published. You know, so kind of annoyed that they used to scrap the games just because the casino game didn't make the money it needed to fund that thing. But this is like IGG. This was like I think at the time it was like the 17th most successful game company in the world, and maybe even like the 3rd, 4th or 2nd most successful mobile game company, behind like Supercell. Don't quote me on that though, I'm not sure. But I do remember it definitely being like the 17th most lucrative. I was like, ooh, nice. Opportunities. Yeah, so these tree branches, like I said from the start, I'm going to have to adapt them and change them. If you notice, if I remove that, it's harmonized the piece even more, because that tells me that like it looks better without it. Less detailed, obviously, but looks better without it. So that means that they're right to be there because it's more detail, essentially. But they do need a fixing. So I'm just going to. You can see that's already better. It's already more stylized. More. I haven't like. Because the bushes were in front of them, I haven't completely painted them in here, but it's not needed so much because the bushes is going to be in front of them there. But yeah, you can see that's already much better, right? That's already much like closer to what I'm going for. I could even go again and kind of push the color a little bit on there. So that's going to be dark there, and it's going to wrap around probably. There we go. Did you enjoy China? What? So apparently I won't have electricity till Monday. We have power outage due to intense tornado here in Canada yesterday. Oh, I did hear about the tornadoes. Whoops, I might have to. Yeah, I might have to go in a minute. Sorry about the tornadoes, Kimmy. That sounds awful. I never experienced a tornado. Apparently the country with the most tornadoes in the world is Scotland. But they're like so minor that nobody notices them, or they don't, like in the Highlands and stuff, nobody cares because they don't cause any damage. But the ones in the northwest and then North America. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Sorry about that. Do you enjoy living in China? I'll go into that in another stream if anyone's interested, Chris, as well. I'll do it just for you, obviously, but if anyone, I cause a habit just saying that. But yeah, I'll go into that in another stream because it's quite interesting. I did though overall, yeah, but it's just some of the food was really strange. Yeah, that's not fun scrapping stuff. Was it required for you to learn Chinese? I learned a little bit of Mandarin, yeah. Xie xie and ni hao was everything I said all day, every day, so thank you and hello, which was all I needed. But they didn't require you to too much. They weren't too bad on it because what they were trying to do was hire a bunch of people from the West to have a Western style influence game. So it's like, yeah, they tried to just. What am I doing on that there? There we go. Yeah, they try to get like that Western style. So they hired a bunch of Russians, a bunch of Spanish, Canadians. There was a few Americans there. Quite a few British people were there as well. So that was really good. That was fun. Yeah, but yeah, you kind of did to go out there because it wasn't like it was considered a second tier city. It's Fuzhou. It's the city that's right next to Taiwan. It's like Taiwan and Fuzhou are like, they're just twin cities there. And yeah, it was fun, but it wasn't required to speak Mandarin too much unless you went out to order some things, but most of them spoke Chinese. I remember the McDonald's didn't, and I tried to say no mustard in the burger, and for some reason it took about 20 minutes of going through like Google Translate and then I translate and then me just pointing at the yellow stuff and making like a big X with my hands, like I don't want like none of the yellow like none of the yellow stuff. But they were pretty good about it and everything. They were really nice to me as well because it was a second tier city, so it wasn't like a Beijing or Hong Kong or anything, so it wasn't like full of Western people. So people I'd walk down the street and I just get the most stares you've ever seen just because my Caucasian eyelids and stuff. It was really funny. It's really good. I didn't mind it at all. Loads of people like come up to you. There was a festival one time and I walked through there and there was so many people, and all of these people came up to me and just wanted pictures with me, and it was just like, it was like you were famous. It was like, oh, you like my art, yeah? You've seen my YouTube, and it's like, no, I just like your eyes. It was a novelty to take a picture with a Westerner over there. Like it was like, oh, I found one. Like, oh, I've got a friend that's one of them. I've got a novelty over there. It was like, it was something to show their friends. Like, look what I found. So that was kind of weird. But overall, it was good, and I could talk more about that another time. Like it's a funny country. They don't go anywhere, so they can be sort of a little bit of systemic prejudice in there, because they don't travel outside of China too much and stuff. But if you know, if you take it on the chin and you don't play the victim too much, then it's just a bit of fun, right? You know, it's a bit of fun. I didn't mind having the pictures and stuff, just like mid eating a burger or mid eating some like some ice cream and stuff, I remember. But yeah, it was really good. I'll try and finish all these questions. Required to speak Chinese. Oh, this is sick. I'll have this in the back while I'm doing art fight. Oh, art fight. Yeah, I was supposed to do that. There's so many things. I was supposed to do the Atom Hawk or Atomahawk thing as well, because that sounded really good. I used to really like Charlie Bow, also was one of my favorite artists. She used to work there as well. There was a bunch of other stuff. Realm, the game, was made there, and that was like super influenced my style, so I was going to do that. Yeah, even Chinese in Canada, they usually come up to you and ask for a picture of you and not of them. Yeah, I know, yeah. From what I heard from my friends, is someone to take a pic of their twins. Yeah, I know, it's just like, oh yeah, can I have a picture? Then I'll have a picture with you and sometimes, but sometimes be like, oh, can I have a picture? And then it'll just be like, oh yeah, so I expect them to come in for like little selfie, little peace sign, etc. But like they'll just be like, oh, can I have a picture? And then step backwards and just take a picture of you just stood there eating and stuff. And sometimes I remember like they'd come zoom in on your face, they'd want like a portrait picture, which is just so mad, isn't it? It's so mental that they'd want, like, just to get like clear view that, you know, look at this guy's, you know, racial features, you know, it's different, right? And it's like, yeah, it is different, I guess, but we all descend from Africa apparently, so we're all the same. I didn't mind it at all. It was really funny. I thought it was funny, just take it on the chin. But yeah, thanks for joining, guys. I'll finish this up probably in my spare time. I'll put it up on the server then. It's I might use it as like a background to animate the character on, a little like canvas and stuff, just to show the character. But yeah, thanks for joining. I'll be doing more of these anyway, just like hour-long streams and stuff, just for fun. Yeah, cheers, thank you. If I'll put the server in there for anyone who doesn't have the server, although I assume it's just people from the server. Where is it to? Max Sands Art, invite people, copy. Where's the chat? There we go. There's a server for anyone who doesn't have it, wants it. It's just a little art community. It's kind of quite small and quite tight, but we have a support thing for people when they post. Like for likes, comment for comments, things like that. And then there's a bunch of work in progress stuff. It's where I do my Patreon, announce streams. People can link what they want, and then there's got like reference pictures and vibes and stuff like that. It's really kind of chill. Take it easy, Chris. Cheers. Cheers, Kimmy. Have a wonderful day, night, evening. I will do. Thank you very much. And yeah, the Tomahawk one was... The Tomahawk one, I want to get one as well. I'm going to convey a scene with a cruise ship. Group gathering alien Guana. Like intergalactic zookeepers or relocators. Josh. Oh, Josh. Hey, Josh. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, the names are different sometimes. It's hard to tell who anyone is. But yeah, no, that sounds cool. That's kind of like a job I've got actually. I like a freelance gig soon. It sounds exactly like something I'd paint for that. I'm actually gonna start that tonight as well. I could just sneakily submit it because they haven't made me sign an NDA, so I could like sneakily submit that work for it as well. But it sounds too similar to yours. I haven't read the brief for the Tomahawk one, but yeah, no, sounds good, Josh. Sounds good. I'll see if I can come up with anything. But yeah, bye everyone. Bye. Bye.